And welcome to Shoals Marine Lab. I'm Matthew LInt, and today we have a feature-length interview with an intern that has spent 10 whole weeks on Appledore Island. We will learn what it is like to be out here on the island, what it is like to be an intern, and what it is like to be a 2017 science education intern. We would begin, but our interviewee seems to be, literally running late. Ready? Always. Let's begin. To start off, 10 weeks on the rock, what's that like? It's pretty similar to 2 weeks, just 5 times as long. In general, for island life, you get 3 full meals a day, cereal, bread, bagels, fruit, and coffee whenever you want, and nature right outside your window. For students, it is 2 weeks on an island with the world as your classroom. As a 10-week resident, I got to meet a ton of cool people, and kind of like the tide, friends came and went. It's sad to see them go, but the ocean's a big place. That's deep. The ocean at least. What does a typical day look like for students at SML? Every day is different. In general, you get up at about 7 a.m. with breakfast at 7:30. Lunch is at 12:30 and dinner's at 6. Sunday meals are at 10 and 5. All of these meals are in Kiggins Commons, but in between those times, there are a ton of things you can be doing. You might have a lecture over in Hamilton. You could be over in Paul McKinney Lab doing dissections. You might be on a boat collecting hagfish. You could be out in the field taking transects or even birding. In the evening, you could probably be studying in the library or hearing one of the weekly Rock Talk guest speakers. And what about student life? Every student will be in a double. There are snacks available 24/7. Everyone pitches in to make the island work, and I enjoy that communal living. Everyone helps with after-meal cleaning. We all hand carry up the food up the rocky stairs every week for food runs. There are weekly Rock Talk guest speakers on Tuesdays, and the artist in residence puts on a myriad of different programs. Each day can be pretty packed, as we do cram in a whole semester in just 2 weeks, but it's a solid 2 weeks. I also hear there's a fire, water, life talk about what is all that? Oh my god. But yeah, for fire, there are to be no open flames on the island, with the exception of on the smoking bench. The hotel era of the island ended when the hotel burned down, and I don't want to accidentally end the SML era by burning down something similar. For water, we've got an island surrounded by ocean. We have limited fresh water, so we have composting toilets and 2 Navy showers every week. For island life, there is almost literally a bioton of gulls on this island. They own the islands. They will attack you on the highest point, so if you hold up a stationary stick, you'll be fine. There's also a ton of poison ivy around, so if you get that stuff on you, there's Technu in all of the bathrooms, which is a special soap, which helps you get the irritating oil off. Well, I'm kind of scared to come out now. How safe is this island? It's totally fine. With respect to personal safety, we've got an infirmary in upstairs Hamilton. All staff members have radios that are on at all times. Anyone can loudly go up to Bartell's, the staff residence, and find someone at any time of night. Neighboring Star Island also has a registered nurse on duty, and even if necessary, one can be airlifted to the mainland. But that's for personal safety. In general, this is a pretty safe place to be because all the rowdy kids that you send out into the world are, ironically, confined to an island. It's a great place to send your child, no worries. There's very little trouble into which they could get. But, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, you have found ways to engage in shenaniganry. Oh, yeah, totally. As interns, spending 10 weeks on the rock can make you kind of go nuts. But in reality, we do get a day off every 6 days on, and we are allowed to go off island for a weekend or 2 across the summer. What's it like to be an intern? Oh, being an intern is great. It's literally a 10-week journey. All of us are in pairs or individuals, but we do collectively help each other. We get weekly meetings for updates, paper discussions, and presentations. By the end, we've made a poster, written a report, and given a talk to the end of summer symposium audience. It does sound like a great experience, but I cannot get over just 10 weeks on the rock. How are you sane? No, it's fine. It's fine. As we are on a longer timeline, we get to spend a lot more time with people like the student staff who are pretty cool. Across the summer, we've had an assortment of movie nights. We've played volleyball, capture the flag, and also ping pong. We also made our own foosball table. I mean, I do find it possible to go maybe a little stir crazy. Sometimes I do find myself talking to gulls or even myself. But yeah, by the end, I have noticed that I find certain things like the number of watermelons on the food run, or rearranging the furniture, or killing flies with an electric swatter, or having new sponges. It's too satisfying. Hey, well, electric fly swatters, It's pretty cool. It's pretty sweet. Well, now that I've heard about island and intern life, what does it mean to be a science education intern at SML? I mean, it's kind of different this year. In several senses, I am literally the pilot. For most of the summer, I was the one making sure this internship didn't crash and burn. So what did you have to do? What I really did this summer was to bring Appledore off the island. The goal was to make SML accessible by anyone on the internet, as the island is pretty much already at carrying capacity of about 40 or so regular residents. And as such, the goal was to bring SML off the island and to the internet. So to see if I've got it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you've got a historic field station with a myriad of educational programs, but only a few people can experience this place in real life? Exactly. To solve that issue of accessibility, I make it all virtual. But why virtual? Why SML? Why marine? Why science? Excellent questions. My products are virtual because anyone with internet can access them. If you're of lower socioeconomic status or if you're physically disabled, you're less likely to be out here. So by bringing products off of SML, they'll go to a wider audience. SML itself is a 51-year-old field station with historic and ongoing research projects and a myriad of student and adult education programs. The main export, as Dr. Jen Seawood likes to say, is research. For marine, the ocean is literally the world's largest biome. There are millions of people who depend on the ocean for food and employment. As the planet's primary heat sink for climate change, it is essential we continue marine research to keep track of the planet's water supply. Finally, science is important if we want to continue expanding our human knowledge. With accessible products, we can inspire the next generation of scientists and reach out to those members of identity groups who might be relatively underrepresented in STEM fields. Well, this seems to be pretty important work you're doing. Thanks. What have you done for the past 10 weeks? For the past 10 weeks, I've created 3 overarching projects. The first is digital media. I created 9 different highlight reels of fieldwork projects, about 1 per week, to introduce viewers to the project. To follow up, I also interviewed each of the interns and researchers at about 2 per week in July to learn the why behind the what, if you will. For the second project, I created 3 maps. I walked around the island literally 4 separate times, taking 2D photo, 3D photo, 3D photo again, and also coordinates. Thanks to Esri, a mapping program, I created an Esri story map short list. With Google Earth, I took over 100 sets of coordinates and threw them into Google Earth to see them. Every single building, geographic landmark, and snakeboard and research site is on that map. Finally, with Google Maps, I took literally over 1,400 360-degree photospheres and uploaded them to be publicly accessible online. You can go to Street View within Appledore Island, and you can walk around the entirety of this walkable portion of the island in virtual 360. Finally, using 2 of the ongoing research projects, the intertidal zone and the Tern colony, we created 2 virtual data sets. For the intertidal, I took about 1,300 2D photos of the different transect sites. Students can ask questions such as, where does the brown algae like to live? And test their hypotheses using real SML data. Similarly, students can do the same thing with the Tern video data set. They can ask what kind of food is being brought back to the nest, or how does how does tide affect food quantity? And again, they can use real SML data. But now how do the students know what to do? Is the teacher trained at SML? So I've also written a set of accompanying lesson plans so students can implement SML ready to go right into their classroom. So I've heard videos, I've heard maps, and I've heard lesson plans. How did the first 2 fit in with education? Well, you have to remember that this internship listed on the SML website is listed under outreach and education. So some of it can feel a little PR-like, but it's part of the process. Last year, there were 2 interns, and they spent half their time on STAR doing tours and the other half of doing independent research project. This is the first year that they're doing this new education internship. Pilot. I get it. Yeah, I've got a long list of suggestions that are needed, like a powerful computer or Adobe Premiere Pro, and some more background theory. Those would be my 3 most essential additions. Can you tell me more about the suggestions? Yeah, so for the computer, one edits AVC HD files, just enormous video files. My computer cannot handle that. Literally every time I would click in iMovie, my computer would just freeze. And so I would just click and stare out the window for 10 seconds. And then, hey, not like that. What did I do? Stop that. Anyways, a more powerful computer, number one. Second, Adobe Premiere Pro. It costs a subscription, but one can choose different export formats. So all of your gigabyte source clips are then exported into much more manageable, megabyte-sized final pieces. What about the third edition, Educational Theory? Yes, so with respect to goals 1 and 2, I did self-learn a fair amount of digital media and geographic information systems, but I really didn't feel as though I was taught very much educational theory as I would have liked. For what is named to be an education internship, I would have preferred to get perhaps some readings or maybe some formal training in the beginning of the summer. I will most certainly walk away with those solid set of speaking and science communication skills that they taught us. I'll remember those for the rest of my life. Overall, how do you feel about everything? On the whole, it was great. It was just a 10-week odyssey on the Isles of Shoals. I got to spend the summer being an artist, meeting new people, and seeing literally that all SML has to offer. I would say that for new intern applicants, one would need a fair amount of independence and initiative for this internship, but I'd like to think that I've also set a high standard for all future education interns. Wonderful. Any concluding thoughts? Well, to the viewers out there, whether as students, student staff, undergraduate researchers, interns, or staff members, you'll be spending a period of time on a rock, 5 miles off the coast of Portsmouth, New Hampshire. You will be surrounded by all nature has to offer all day, and you'll most certainly hear gulls all night. Every meal can be with faculty, directors, deans, donors, or even congresspeople. You will be a contributing, productive, working member of this island society, and you'll most certainly learn about where you live. Whether that sounds like heaven or hell is mainly up to you, and perhaps how long you spend out here. After 10 straight weeks, I'm ready to go home. Excellent. Thank you. Well, to summarize for our audience, and Matt, you can please correct if incorrect, we got to hear about island life, the SML intern program as a whole, and what it is like to be the very first science education intern. Correct. I'm Matthew LInt of Shoals Marine Lab, and we'll see you next time.